Hi there. In this video we're looking at percentage increase, and basic question we're looking at is increase £250 by 15%, and I've got an extension question of increasing $920 by 17.5%. If we start off with looking at the idea of a percentage increase, the basic concept is that you start off with your original amount, your 100%, and you take a chunk of that and add it on, so it gets more. So that there would represent a 25% increase, where we add a quarter of the original amount on again. Now if you look at that as a whole, that means that a 25% increase means that you end up with 125% altogether. And that's the idea that we're going to use to find a quick calculator method of finding a percentage increase. So if I take my trusty £360 and I want to find a 25% increase, then what I'm looking to find is the whole amount plus 25% of it added on. Therefore, the complete amount will be 125%. What I can do is take my £360 and multiply it by 125%, converted into a decimal multiplier, and that will take me directly to the answer to this particular question. 25% of 360 is 90, so it turns out to be £450. If you want to check that, you could find 10% of 360. You could therefore double it to find 20%. Half of 10% will give you the 5%. And then if you add all of these together, these two together, so if we had 72 and 18, then we see that £90 is the 25%. If you then add that on to the 360, then we get, there we go, so I'll take over my original 360, add those together to get a 25% increase, and we end up with £450. Now this decimal multiplier can be a lot more straightforward. If we just have a look at some other examples of percentage increases. So a 15% increase, we'd want to multiply by 1.15. For an 8% increase, you multiply by 1.08, because that represents 108%. If you had something a bit more awkward, like a 1.5% increase, that's a bit more standard for maybe some bank accounts, not quite at the moment, but if you're watching this in a few years' time, and hopefully bank accounts are back at somewhere near 1.5% interest, and this one would be 1.01, because that'd be 1%, and then 1.015 to indicate a 1.5% increase. So if we apply that logic to our question here, we've got £250, which has been increased by 15%. The easiest way to work that out is to multiply it by 1.15. If you don't have a calculator, we can just check by finding 10%, which means we divide it by 10. Find 5%, which means we halve our 10%. If we add these two together, we get 37.50, and then what we need to do to get our new amount is add that onto our original 250. So if we add that onto 250, we get 287.50. And you should also find out that if you multiply 250 by 1.15, you will also get £287.50. At this point, pause the video and you can have a go at the extension question. Once you've had a go and you think you've got an answer, then play the video and we'll see if you were right. Okay, so we've got our $920 and we're going to increase it by 17.5%. So that's 17.5% on top of the original 100%, meaning we want to find 117.5%. Convert that to a decimal multiplier, and that's the calculation you'll need to do. If we do that calculation, you should find 920 times 1.175 gives you, in dollars, 1,081. Hope that helped and that you can manage to do a few percentage increases now. Thank you very much for your time.